Hey guys, welcome back to the Human Reconnect. Today's episode is going to be about connection in social media. But before we dive into that, we're going to check in on our weekly challenge and see how exactly everyone was mindful last week or if they were even practicing mindfulness. So,
Right.
yeah, let's check
Yeah.
in. How are you guys?
Another tough challenge,
Ah,
think. Yeah, I'll start us off. I wanted to do in like a few ways. I just wanted to build my awareness of like moments that I am just zoned out and I'm not being present and in the moment. And I think one thing I noticed was when I am trying to be mindful and doing one task, so it could be like washing the dishes. I just like have this urge to do something else at the same time to be efficient. So I'm like, I want to watch this YouTube video. I can watch this video and do the dishes and keep myself like entertained and motivated. I just noticed all of those kind of moments where like my brain was trying to be efficient, but actually it does the opposite. It makes me really distracted. Like I'm not 100% focused on one thing or the other. It's like my brain is in all these different places. So that was really tough. It was a great challenge though, because I was thinking about you, Courtney, when you were talking about like being mindful, like taking a shower and like smelling the soap. And I was like, whoa, there's so many like easy ways to do it. I think it's just building the routine. Very tricky, very difficult. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, I showered this week without watching TV
Heck
while
yeah.
I was showering. So
How'd you do?
go me. Did you die of boredom? Was it like the worst thing ever? I was still able to shower. It was fine. And then I tried to sit outside for 20 minutes and just be mindful. And I think I made it to like 8 minutes, which is still pretty. I think 20 minutes was
Yeah, 20
was
minutes is lofty. Yep.
a big
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah.
So I think I made it like 8. And then I was like, yeah, this is hard. And I got up and I think I ended up doing some chores around the house or something and was not able to sit outside. But I did. I just noticed how much like being outside and being in nature and moving my body is really important for me. So I think
Yeah.
that was nice. A good reminder. I think I know that about myself, but it was a good reminder. But it's hard. It is like hard to stay present and to be in the moment with all the things going on, especially over like the holiday week. I feel like knowing I was going to see family, know we had like things coming up, we had plans to travel and things to do. I think it's even harder. So it was nice to practice it and kind of clock on a chaotic week that I do need to find more time to slow down. Oh, I don't even sit down to eat dinner anymore. I like do something else while I'm eating.
Yes.
So trying to just get back to like the basics and the simple things too of showering without my phone and sitting down and eating dinner
Yeah.
without doing something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are important things.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you guys. I think I had a lot of moments where I thought, man, I just actually need to be in this moment and stop. But then I would fight with myself and think, but I can also be doing all of this at the same time. And it's not that big a deal. I think I explained a lot of it away. I had some, actually, I felt really good leading up to Thursday and Friday, because that's when my family got in, and I had just to preface this, I had a lot of fun having my family in, but I think I was super mindful, did extremely well until Thursday, and then my brain immediately went into hosting. And so whenever I'm hosting, I am very much worried about everything else and everyone else. And we were talking a little bit earlier today. Something that we talked about was family roles and the types of roles that we play. And so I think I'm a very big mediator. I like to mediate between people. I like to check in. I like to help manage and regulate emotions and people and things to keep it low conflict, I just want the peace. So when I'm mediating, I cannot be mindful because I am thinking about 7 other people and all of their emotions and how am I going to manage all 7 of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I think even during Easter dinner, I was running all over the place thinking about, okay, what food needs to go out? Who's enjoying what food? What are the dietary restrictions?
All the things.
Yes, all the things. And who's gonna enjoy cupcakes versus ice cream versus candy, whatever it looked like. And so my mom was a huge help to that. And at the same time, I remember thinking, I'm forgetting to be present with people. I was so busy cleaning up dishes and getting them put away and, just trying to manage the mess and the after part that I wasn't getting to spend time with the others as much as I would like. Now, once I realized that, I was intentional and went back out and was like, I'm going to be with people and spend time and hang out and, yeah, do all that stuff. But
No. Yeah. Yeah, and if you're already that mediator, I think hosting sets us up even more to
Yeah.
be that person because, like, now you're
Yes.
in my space, you're in my house, I'm
Yeah.
providing like, I'm cooking dinner or the
Yes.
bulk of it, I'm sure
Yes.
people contributed and brought
Right.
things
Yeah, yeah,
and
absolutely.
helped and were willing
Yes.
to pitch in, but, like, I think there is, like, a greater sense of responsibility when you're
Absolutely.
hosting too, so I'm sure
Absolutely.
that heightened everything.
So overall, I think it was a great challenge. I loved it, and I enjoyed getting to be bored and doing nothing except for what I was doing was being mindful. And then I also noticed when I wasn't. And, I think it had a bigger impact because I'm sitting there thinking, I need to be mindful or I need to stop doing that or whatever. So,
Yeah.
yeah, good stuff. And I didn't think about this until right now, but I could see our work that we've done throughout the week translate over into work of being able to be more regulated when there are hard things that happen
Mhm.
at work. Or we have D&D on Saturday with all of my husband and all of our guy friends, and I had a moment where we would maybe finish up a scene that we were doing, and I would go straight on my phone. And Blake was like, I saw this study, and it said that he was, talking about how boredom's really good for our brain, and he was, calling me out for going
Mhm.
straight on my phone, and I thought that was so cool because he actually has done that. I won't say he's never done that, but it was cool that even, outside of us, I got to experience that with my other,
Yeah.
friend groups too of, "Hey, you're going straight on," bringing awareness to me, "You're going straight on your phone, you could interact with us, you could just sit there and be bored." So I
Yes.
really respected that, and, it was cool. I love when people can be honest like that and call us
Mhm.
out in a safe way.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I
yeah.
think that rolls nicely into our topic. Boredom is good for our brain.
Yes, and the antithesis to boredom is social media. Like,
For today's purposes.
so, how not to be bored, you get on social media. So, yeah, today's topic is gonna be connection and social media. So, I think real quickly, just wanted to throw out, the definition of social media, and that is websites and applications that allow users to create and share content or to participate in social networking. So, I just reading that definition, I'm gonna be honest, I'm very protective of Pinterest. I
Yeah.
don't wanna think of Pinterest as social media, but it is. I mean, users are creating and sharing content, and in order to find out what ingredients I need for my casserole, I've gotta scroll through Becky's, life-altering bio that she's wrote in her blog.
You
That's
do.
definitely social media.
Yeah,
But
we could
nowadays they have the jump to recipe buttons.
yeah, thank God if you gotta be bored
Hey,
while looking
yeah.
for it,
Get
it's
all
rough.
right.
Well, I think that's a cool point, though, like, different intensity levels of social media, do we feel like that impacts us more than others, right? Because 'Cause you're right,
Yeah,
Pinterest is different than TikTok, is different
yeah,
than maybe Reddit might be different than Instagram or Facebook, like, how do we feel like the way that the platform is maybe curated and set up impacts us
yeah.
too. Like, what a good point. Because 'cause I'm protective of Pinterest too.
Yes, I
So,
know. Yeah,
I feel that. Yep.
yeah. It feels like our level of, connectivity to it. Like, Pinterest, you're not I think maybe you can comment, I'm not sure. There's, more of that
I think you
distinct
can.
where I can go and I can, I don't have to be ads involved. And
Yeah.
then I know we were just talking about YouTube before. That's is YouTube social media, which I didn't think of it as social media until we talked about it a second ago. I'm like, yeah, you comment and you can now you can what is it called? Be a sponsor for someone's page or pay extra money to have certain types of comments and to get videos early. They're actually increasing the ways that you can connect on YouTube, which is interesting.
That's
Yeah, and
interesting.
at the end of the day, it's users creating and sharing content, and
At its
that's
core.
yeah, yeah, and that's what social media is. So yeah. I don't know. I think obviously, and we're probably going to hit on the big ones, but I think you've got to think about well, I'm going to say back channels, but then the ones that I'm going to say aren't really back channels, but you also got to think about Discord,
Mhm.
Twitch, games, right? I mean, if you're a streamer and you're playing Black Ops and you're uploading those clips, I mean, that's content creation. That's
Mhm.
social media. People are engaging,
1,000%. Yeah.
right? If you're streaming a video game and it's on Twitch or Discord where people can interact with you, all of that is technically social media.
Yeah.
You're creating content that people want to consume and connect with you over. Oh, yeah, I think that there's a lot more to social media than I guess even just what I'm thinking, as far as YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. So there's so many. There's also
Mhm.
chat rooms,
Mhm. I don't know any names of chat rooms.
Omegle, a very scary
Omegle.
place.
Okay.
I always hate when, like, any of the kids we work with talk about being on Omegle. I'm like, that then there's level of safety too and regulation. Like, I'm
Okay.
thinking about that too of, like, for example, Omegle, anyone can pop up on that video. Like,
Okay.
there's no
Yep.
way to be able to really filter that, at least none that I know
Mm.
of. So, like, that level of safety too.
Yeah. Yeah. You got any
You've never been on Omegle?
No.
Did you have a child? I'm kidding. You
Did
didn't
I
need
have
to
a
be on it.
child?
You didn't
No.
need to be on it, but I was
It's a
just
great
curious.
thing you were not on it.
I
Really.
think the riskiest thing I did was I played Xbox, and obviously Xbox was male dominated back then. Well, I played Call of Duty, which was definitely that and Red Dead Redemption. And
Yep.
so, because I was a
Weren't
horse girl.
Weren't you cool?
Yeah, well, I was a horse girl, and Red Dead Redemption had horses that you
Yep.
could
Oh,
Yes,
boy.
it is.
it was my dream video game. So I would meet up. I would be in these people's posse, and every now and then someone would want to video chat me on Xbox because when you would add friends, you could then video chat them. And there was one time, and it scarred me for life. There was one time a guy caught on, and he actually wasn't that much older than me, but smoking a fat joint in his bedroom. And I thought, uh-oh.
Uh-oh, no.
And I said,
I gotta get
I
off, I gotta
can't
get off."
talk to you anymore.
Parents said, "I can't talk to strangers online."
So, that's probably my risk. Like,
Can you block people?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I didn't know if
sure.
you could.
You can,
Okay.
yeah. So he wasn't. Yeah, I did
He was
not.
blocked real quick.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't get to ride horses together.
And she was
anymore.
scarred for life. The rest was history.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was an interesting time. And then I had a little virtual boyfriend.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Well, look,
What do you mean a virtual
long
boyfriend?
he was a real person.
So you think.
Yes, it was so funny. So we Skyped a lot. He met my mom through Skype. So I think I was 13.
Okay.
Yeah. And we
And
played
how'd you meet this man?
on Xbox. And yeah, and so we played for months. I mean, we would get on and we would go and we would play after school. And it wasn't ever, my mom never thought, oh, my child's addicted. It wasn't that
Yeah.
extreme. It was just someone that I actually really enjoyed playing with.
Yeah.
And once I got to know him a little bit more, I guess no in quotation marks,
Mhm.
but then my mom said that, well, I don't know if I even asked her, but we swapped numbers, cell phone numbers. And so then we started messaging and stuff. My mom was very good at managing, okay, here's what you do and don't tell him. And so anyway, I mean, we talked for maybe 2 years. So it was
Did you date
longer.
him for 2 years?
No, 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 no. So there was some talk of like dating and being boyfriend, girlfriend, but a lot of it was just
Like he was a friend.
he was a friend.
That you liked
and
playing games
yeah,
with.
and we
Yeah.
flirted and it was, a whole thing. And I think I had a crush on him. But anyway, we Skyped and my mom got to meet him and he was super nice and just really, yeah, actually just a cool
Aw.
guy.
It's like a positive story of
It
meeting a
was
stranger
extremely positive.
Yeah.
And looking back, I think, oh my gosh, how did that not go so disastrously wrong? Because there were so many points.
Well, there's boundaries with it. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess that's a good point.
Yeah.
There were a lot of boundaries with it.
Yeah.
It was managed well, and my mom wasn't stupid.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
you were
so-
functioning at like a healthy level and able
Yes.
to just
Yeah.
be like, he's a friend. And also at 13, relationships. We can't drive, we can't go anywhere. Like
Nope.
how serious can relationships get in terms
Exactly.
of like being able to be with
Yes.
each other
Yeah.
consistently?
Yes.
Amanda, did you have an online relationship?
No.
No? I'm surprised.
My parents had a lot of restrictions for online. So, like, I
Okay.
was able to, I think, start playing video games at, like, 11 or 12. But,
Okay.
like, my parents were the type, like, they would check the ratings on the video games. They were very particular. So,
Yeah.
I was not able to. Luckily, I wasn't because I feel like for my whole life, I've just been drawn to humans. I'm, like, wanting to make relationships with them, and I think I would have been very easily influenced online. So, it is a beautiful thing that I
No online boyfriend.
no. And I feel like
Okay.
my, like, Omegle experience was with a friend, and I was just traumatized. I'm like, "Who are these people? This is scary, and I'm unsafe." So it didn't last, luckily.
There's a lot of nudity.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's the one where it just pops up random strangers. You're on a video and you
Yeah.
connect, and
It's
then
just
you
like,
change.
Penis,
as-
penis, penis, penis. You're like, oh.
Exactly. That is
No.
no.
Yes.
People are
Is
disturbed.
there any filtration or like
Mm,
No.
no.
no? Not
So
that I'm aware of.
anybody could just pop up naked
Yeah.
on Omegle.
Yeah, they
Well,
could.
I didn't know that it was, like, still a thing. I thought it was, like, our
Yeah,
generation
me
and has
too.
of
Mhm.
thought since phased out and been
For sure.
addressed, but I guess now I think about it, like, we would go on it a lot in college because it wasn't really scarring, it was more funny at that time, like, we'd
Yeah.
be with all our
Seeing
guy
who you
friends,
can
all
hit.
our
Yeah.
girlfriends, and I mean, probably not being the kind again, it's not a safe
It's
environment.
not
Don't get
safe.
on a bagel.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. What is your guys' like first experience with social media? What are your do you have any memories or stories?
I seriously think Xbox was I mean,
Was
I
yours?
had a
Yep.
phone and I had Snapchat, but and I'll preface this by saying I grew up in a small town. Everyone knew everyone else, and you went to school with everyone in the district. So, I think in my head, I all the kids that I had on Snapchat, I was going to school with every single day, and I had known these
Yeah.
kids for years prior. I had went to elementary school with them, and so now, I think when I had social media starting out, I wasn't adding people that I didn't know. I wasn't suddenly connected to all of these other 13-year-olds, but I would say Xbox. Xbox was probably my exposure to the biggest range of people because everything else was just people that I knew, you know?
Yeah.
Instagram, people that I were friends
Yeah.
with already.
I mean, I think I'm gonna make kind of a I don't think it's a bold statement. I feel like me and my friend Alex were actually talking about this the other day that like content creators and influencers, that's a newer thing. Like
Yes.
Yeah.
when because I got my first iPhone in 6th grade, which was young, and I had Instagram and Snapchat, but like I was up to date on my Instagram feed. Like every night I would go on Instagram and I would scroll and I would see my 50 friends Instagram
Yes!
posts and then
Oh my
I was
gosh!
up to
Yeah.
I
date.
forgot
I was
that.
caught
Yeah,
up. Where now you can scroll for 7
7
hours
hours
and you're
and
never
still
gonna hit
not
the same content.
no,
Where
no.
before it was
Wow.
truly like a feed that
Yep.
Yeah,
you
with
could stay
stuff.
up to date with. So
Wow.
I would go on my apps and I would stay up to date and
Mhm.
there and like I could follow Selena Gomez or Hilary Duff, but
Mhm.
like there was no random Susie Liu who's a fitness influencer that I
Mhm.
now like her content and I'm following. There was none of that just wasn't a thing. So
I'm so glad I didn't even think about that until you said that, but
Mhm.
yeah, once you were caught up, you just got off
yeah.
You're done.
because you're done.
Yeah,
You
and so it turned into a popularity contest, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
which girl in middle school gets the most likes on her thirst traps?
Yes.
That's what it was. I mean, essentially, that's just it
Yes.
was like a new
Oh,
and it was just a new form that we talked to each other outside of school on instead of emailing or
Yeah.
wow.
whatever, or texting. Like, we could now, like, post pictures and see what each other were doing on the weekend or what vacation you were going on with your family.
Yeah.
Like, that's really what it was, and then Snapchat was just, like, I think where FOMO started for me, like, so and so's hanging out this weekend, and I wasn't invited to
I
come
didn't
to
know.
that, or I asked them to hang out, and they told I think that's where we started catching each other in lies a little bit more too,
Yeah.
like, I asked you to hang out, and you said you were busy, and
Yeah.
now I see that
Yeah.
you're with Catherine or,
Right,
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
whoever, I'm
Because
just
Snapchat
giving
was
a random name, but
quick, yeah, yeah, quick and had location and
Mhm.
yeah, yep.
yep, and you could see people's top 3 best friends, which caused a lot of drama for
Oh, I
me.
bet.
I don't know about for you guys, but that was a
Yeah.
lot of drama.
I think that was kind of like maybe the older generation's MySpace.
Yeah.
Snapchat was, similar in that sense of you could see rankings and
Mhm.
stuff, and MySpace had that for
We caught a lot of men talking to people that they shouldn't have been talking to.
Yep,
Well, you're talking to her and she's your top best friend, so what do you mean?
yep,
It caused a lot of drama.
yes. I think that kinda names or speaks to we kinda went there on our own, but, talking about social media, I think it can be extremely detrimental to connection, right? So, connection is kind of the whole point of this, and so, social media obviously is the biggest interface for connection, but there's a lot of detriment to it, right? How it's used, how it's consumed, who it's used with, right, can absolutely destroy connection rather than help it. So I was
Mhm.
curious to see, Olivia, going back to what you were talking about. You were talking about Snapchat and being able to see the top 3 friends. You
Mhm.
can't do that anymore, right?
No, you cannot.
No. And
Thank you,
so
Snapchat, for that.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. But also Instagram, like counts, right? that went away for a while. I think they've brought it back where you can toggle it. You can change if you want people to
Okay.
see
I
how
haven't
many
been on
likes you have.
Instagram in years, so I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
So Instagram got rid of the like count. Used to it would have the heart and then however many likes out next
Oh,
to it.
okay.
Yep.
Mhm.
And so they got rid of that where it was just, oh, sorry, where it was just the hearts that you would see. And then, you couldn't tell how many people liked it. Well, I guess enough people complained or whatever that they brought it back as an option. You can turn it off or you can turn it
Mhm.
on. Yeah.
Okay.
So it is interesting because that tells me that to some degree, social media apps recognize things that are detrimental and then they change them.
Yeah. And
So,
and is it like they're forced to? Because I know there are some lawsuits going on with social media companies, or is
mhm,
it like for us to keep these people for this to be sustainable for us, we need to change this? Or is
mhm.
it like a law or does it have to be is it tied to like lawsuits? I'm curious.
Yeah. I don't know. What are your all thoughts? What are your all's thoughts? Or do you guys have examples of other features like that used to be really big and now they're gone because they probably were so detrimental?
You used
Mm,
to be able to get that app where you could see, like, who was viewing and, like, screenshotting your profile, and that was a
that's
big one, like,
dangerous.
"Oh, I posted this bikini pic," and, like, 15 boys screenshotted it and sent in in the group chat or whatever.
Mhm.
I remember that was a big thing for a while. I'm trying to think of other features. You can still see who views your story, and Snapchat will also let you know this is another big one. Snapchat will let you know how long ago someone was on Snapchat, and it's like, well,
Mm.
I texted my boyfriend or the guy I'm talking to 20 minutes ago, and he's been on Snapchat. He hasn't
Yeah.
answered me in 2 hours, but he's been on Snapchat, or his Snap score is going up,
Uh,
and he's not answering me. Those
yes.
were features that caused a lot of drama, and I think the big thing that I'm getting at is I think social media gives us a lot of information sometimes that we don't need, or our
Yeah.
brain doesn't need to know or be able
No.
to find out. That's my hot take on those features.
Yeah. Just even more like at a time where life is already full of drama, just adding to the drama, adding to the detail. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think, and I'm totally willing to for someone to be like, no, I actually had, but I think the talking stage or the beginning of any relationship, especially romantic ones, and especially when we're younger, it's anxiety inducing. I'm trying to figure out if this person likes me as much. There is a little bit of a game to it. There just is. And
Mhm.
most of my, and I'm speaking obviously from my own experiences and from
Mhm.
my friends' experiences and my lived experience, like there's a game to it. Like that cat and mouse, like, "Do you
Yeah.
like me? Do you not?" Be too interested, but I don't wanna not be interested, like,
Mhm.
the dating game, right? The
Yeah.
dating pool, and I think social media has added a whole new layer to dating someone. I can find out so much about you before I even know you.
Before you even meet them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And stalk them
Yep.
on
Yeah.
their social medias, yep.
Yeah.
The amount of times I'm gonna interject here. The amount of
Yeah, go
times
for
that
it.
I've just in conversation had kids talk about so and so slid into my DMs or so and so added me on Snapchat. And I'm sitting there wondering, do you even know this person? And they don't.
Mm,
And next thing you know, they're talking because one of them added a stranger on Snapchat and now they're talking or they slid into
Mhm.
their Instagram DMs and it's hey, who are you? What are you doing? And I stalked your profile and I think you're pretty or whatever. I mean, that's as easy as it gets. For people to suddenly have these relationships or access to someone similar to what you were saying, you can learn so much about someone before even going out on a date, before even messaging
mhm.
them. Yeah.
I feel like to add that layer now, this it's easier to, like, manipulate who you are because I think, like, the first time I saw a video of, like, body filters that, like, change how someone's body structure looks or how their face looks and, like, the realism now, and then obviously, you can always just make a fake profile and be a fake person. There's
Yeah.
just so much potential for, like, skewing reality,
Yeah.
which is
And
scary.
yeah, and when you're trying to find a connection with someone, whether it's platonic, romantic, whatever that looks like, when you see images of them and you have this perception
Mhm.
of what they should look like, and then you meet them and you've been lied to essentially, or at least not set up for reality.
Yeah.
That is. I mean, that's extremely detrimental to connection because that whole relationship is only formed on looks by that point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have no relationship. And so when the physical part is not there and that's what you based your relationship on because social media and content that you've consumed, that sucks,
Yeah.
connection-wise.
Yeah.
Then here comes the catfish show,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
remember when that started.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, we don't always need to be connected to people so often. That's
Mhm.
like a weird statement to make, but like, I don't think this new guy that you've been talking to for 2 weeks, you need to quite literally be connected to at all times. And social media allows us to do that. I
Mhm.
can see that he's on his phone. I can see that he's hanging out with his friend. I can know what this person is doing all the time. And now I'm wondering, why isn't he messaging me back? Or why isn't he Snapchatting me when I see his Snap score going up? And I think that creates, well, and it's because you've known the guy for 2 weeks, and he probably has a best friend group chat that he Snapchats in all the time, right? Like, there's so
Mhm.
many reasons, and so
Yeah.
I think it creates so much anxiety in
Yeah.
relationships and in new connections, right? Because I don't know you, I don't trust you
Trust
yet,
you, yeah.
and you shouldn't. That's very typical, that
Yeah.
makes sense, and I just wonder how much anxiety it creates, and then you can also sit and, like, stalk his page and then stalk his family and ruin, like, her family, right? It's not just like, and I just think it creates a lot of anxiety and a lot of issues that probably don't need to be in a relationship. And also it can be protective too. Like, you can get that "Hey girly" text and find out your boyfriend's been cheating on you because someone finds you on social media. It also
Right.
opens
Yeah.
doors
Mhm.
to, like, I think, be connected and protective and maybe find things out about someone before you typically would have. I don't know if that's necessarily fair. I just think it's information overload, and I think that is detrimental to
Yeah.
connection. I think we
Yeah.
should be able to share. I mean, I found out things about my fiancé before from a Google search. Like, I didn't even have social media, and I was like, I don't really know anything about him. He just asked me to be his girlfriend. I'm not sure if I even wanna be his girlfriend. I'm gonna Google him,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah.
found out things that I wish I would have found out from him. Like, it
Mhm.
was his to share, it wasn't mine
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
be a little sleuth, and I just had all my girlfriends on spring break looking him up and
Yeah.
sleuthing around, and, like, looking back, like, that was his to share. It wasn't mine to sleuth around on the internet and find out.
Mhm.
Like, obviously, it's there and I can access it, but
Yeah.
I think for me, the information overload is detrimental to connection, and we don't get the full story.
Yes.
Whether or not you think you have it or not, you don't have the full story. You don't have all the pieces.
Yes.
You just have a portion.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. Definitely anxiety inducing. I
Yeah.
mean, wow.
Yeah.
How anxiety inducing is it to look and see that your husband, your spouse, your fiance, your girlfriend, boyfriend, your siblings are on an app and they're active, but they're not engaging with you, even
Mhm.
though you just
Mhm.
texted them or just messaged them or whatever. I mean, because where do our thoughts automatically go? To the
To
worst,
the
to
worst.
the absolute worst, right? And that's, yeah, how much anxiety do we create for ourselves because we are sitting there obsessing over something that when they show up, they have a great or brilliant or very simple explanation for
Mhm.
what it was. And you're thinking, that was actually nothing because it truly is nothing.
Yeah.
But social media warps that perception.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Snapchat map is very odd. I can see
Yeah.
where people I haven't talked to in years
Years.
live, where they're located,
Yes.
what they're
It is weird.
doing.
Yes.
It's cool. I've had some cool moments too where someone's like, "Hey, I see that you're like, at the beach, and I am too. Like, I'd love to see you. Haven't seen you in a while." And that's, like, a cool moment to be able to be like,
Yes.
"Oh,
Yep.
cool. Like, they knew I would have never known you were here too. We get to connect." So I'm
Right.
trying to give positives too, but, like,
Yes.
it was still kinda startling of, like, I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know this person can still see my location. I haven't talked to them since high school," which is,
Yes.
like, I trust
Oh,
that person. It
yeah,
wasn't a huge
right.
deal, but I was like, "Oh, wow. I didn't even." I don't know, it's not something I think about.
Yep, I agree.
Do you guys check the Snap Map?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't. Every now and then I zoom out just to see where everyone's little what are they called? Bitmojis
Yeah,
are or
they're
whatever.
little
Yes,
characters,
yes.
yes.
So I do zoom out just to see, but no, I don't check, and I think I have my location turned off.
Okay.
So I don't think people can see me, but I do kind of enjoy
Yeah.
looking at seeing where everybody else is at, especially like you were saying, the kids that are from high school that I actually have not talked to in years.
I
And
always check the Wednesday before Thanksgiving because typically everyone's home for and they're out and I'm like, "Who am I gonna run
Yeah.
into and who's gonna be around?" So that is, like, the one time a year I
Oh.
hop on the Snap and see who's, like, back
Okay,
in
so
town.
now I'm interested. Now I'm invested because now I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, everyone's coming home."
Yeah,
I've never thought to check that.
yeah.
How many of us are coming back to that location?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm always curious. So that's my one time a year that I sleuth on there. Otherwise, I really have no interest,
Right.
and I think my Snapchat settings are really just set to, like, my friends
Yeah.
only, and a lot of my because I think once I got in college and I've gotten older, I don't have you guys on Snapchat. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
add people on Snapchat
Yes.
anymore, so it's really funny, it's, like, just high school friends and maybe
Yeah.
some college people, which is interesting.
I know, like, you can save pictures in Snapchat, which I didn't realize, and then that was, like, such a beautiful gem to find my pictures from when I first had Snapchat, like, 2012, 13, 14. It was precious, like, getting to go back and see memories. Yeah.
Yeah, my Snapchat is one social media source that if I got, like, locked out or wasn't able to get back into that account, I would be devastated because I have years of videos and
Yes.
memories on there that, like, are not aesthetic like, they are just true, authentic, silly
Yes.
moments, and I feel like it is a time capsule, so that is something that I love about Snapchat is that
Mhm.
I get to take all these silly videos and
And I think Snapchat did a good job at being more authentic in the
yeah,
sense that everyone was kind of doing corny filter stuff. Everyone was doing the funny, "Oh, I'm gonna record my friends doing this prank," and it wasn't curated. It was just people going around recording and sending
yes, yeah,
in very in the moment, very real, very,
yeah.
quick. Yeah.
My biggest thing with Snapchat is that everything disappeared, which they have made it now where you can save things in chat.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
if I'm remembering correctly, I don't think you were ever
Nope.
able to save
Nope.
anything
No.
in
When they first
Snapchat.
started out,
No.
nothing was safe.
Yes,
Yep.
which was also caused a lot of drama because
Drama,
it was
But
like, we're
gone.
talking on the low on Snapchat and there's no proof that we were talking.
Yep.
There's no anything, and
yeah.
so,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was an interesting
Gone.
time.
And that feature got changed, I think, pretty quick,
It did, you were able to start saving
saving
things
stuff.
if you decided to.
So, yeah, I think there is, that kinda goes back to what we were talking about is just there's features that apps have that I think they realized were detrimental, right, to connection and things that, again, like the anxiety and, the strangers and the
Yeah,
seeing friends and seeing locations and stuff like that. Some of those features are, I think, extremely detrimental to connection
okay.
because of how they're used.
Yeah. All right.
So,
So I have a question for you all then.
yeah.
So we're talking about social media. My hot take is going to be I think social media has made it harder to have privacy. Do you think privacy is important to connection?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think so, because in my mind, something that makes connections so strong is intimacy,
Mm.
Yeah. Okay.
okay?
Okay.
And so without privacy, I don't think that there can be intimacy.
Okay. Say more.
So, this is such a crude example, but
Okay.
if I post my nudes on the internet,
Yeah.
there is no privacy for what I look like or for what my body looks like. And so, if I want to have a very intimate relationship that feels exclusive, some of those things I do want to just be available for my husband.
Yeah. Of
So,
course.
yeah, so
Yeah.
by posting it publicly, that's no longer intimate or exclusive to my husband. That's now accessible by literally the entire globe. So, I think intimacy is a huge part of connection because that and feel free to disagree with me, but that's what makes connections deep. Is the more intimate, the more exclusive you feel with someone, that's how you know you're truly connected. I know things about Brennan that no one else knows. And that's a really cool part of our relationship. And I will say that our relationship is not public. We're not posting on Instagram. We're not posting on Facebook. 'Cause our relationship is ours.
Yeah.
That connection is ours, and I value that a lot. However, I think privacy is hard because it's also a way to connect with others. I wanna show all my friends that my husband is this amazing, wonderful guy. I wanna show him off, right? So I think privacy can help in some ways because it lets other people know, hey, they're doing good, or they're doing well, or oh, they're expecting, or oh, they just got married. So it allows other people to kind of share in those moments and feel more connected to us. But I think even that has degrees. If I post on my Facebook, it's going to just my friends.
Yeah.
I'm not posting it to Chad that lives in Seattle, Washington. He's probably never going to see a photo of my wedding unless he, I guess, explicitly like, looks it up or whatever, and that's
Yeah.
just a hypothetical person.
Yeah. No, I
I
know.
don't know. What are
I
your thoughts?
I like what you said that privacy creates intimacy.
Oh,
I'm
beautiful.
curious on your take, Amanda.
Yeah. I just feel like moment of silence for what you said because I think that a lot of things clicked for me. I love what you said. And I'm actually really drawn to videos like day in my life where it feels more intimate and I see the pull to that, to
Mhm,
want to show people all sides so they feel like they're in your home. They feel like they're one of your close intimate friends. But I
mhm.
think it's dangerous because that's not like a real relationship. It's almost like how a distortion of a relationship, it's this
A
fantasy of a
parasocial
relationship.
relationship?
Yeah, and but I see the draw to it, but it does that make it real? I think that the older I get, I still love, like, day in the life videos. I'm, like, obsessed with them. I think they're so fun to watch. They can be so cozy. The older I get, I'm like, "Is this really like, is this real? Is this reality? Is this really how they spend every one of their days? Or is this
Yes.
curated life that now I look at and I compare my life to?" So I
Yeah,
think the more mature I get, the more I'm seeing it different, but I totally understand the draw to it as
yeah,
well, of wanting to, like you said, have that intimacy, but true intimacy is those special moments between you and someone else that maybe no one else gets to know about,
mhm,
so, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit with what you said, I really loved how you worded that.
Yeah. And I think it becomes harder and harder to be authentic when we're lacking privacy. For me, that is like a very personal statement, but I know like Josh and I had parts of our engagement that were with a bunch of other people, but like it was really important to me that like when he proposed that it was just me and him.
mhm,
So I could be authentic, I could
mhm.
just be with him. It could be an
Yep.
intimate moment between the two of us. There was no photographer taking pictures of us
Yeah.
because that just would have changed it for me. Not that it would have changed
Mhm.
it for everyone, but it would have changed it for me, and I just wanted it to be a moment, the 2 of us, and that
Yeah.
was important, and but that created into the privacy of that moment without my mom, without my sister, without my dad, without anybody. Even
Yeah.
though those people are important to me and I wanted them to be a part of that day, I wanted that moment to be private
Mhm.
between the 2 of us because it's ours. It's
Yeah.
our moment. It was no one else's, and so I think when you said that, that clicked in my head that, like,
Mhm.
privacy does create intimacy, and I think I don't really have a take, but while we were talking, I think a
Mhm.
lot of the functions that I kept bringing up kind of intrude on people's privacy, like, I don't wanna answer this text right now because maybe I don't know how to respond, or I'm having some anxiety on how to respond to this person, or I'm not in this like, the time or the setting to respond,
Mhm.
but now you know I'm on my phone and now you're mad at me. Like,
Yeah.
it's, like,
Yes, they
zero
know you
privacy,
left
like
them on red or
yes,
something.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
there's 0 privacy, and I think for me, it creates a lot of anxiety in my relationships to not have that privacy. Maybe I'm on my way to see you, but I need a second to finish talking to someone on the phone, so I pull in a parking lot, and you can tell from my location I've been sitting in the parking lot for 25 minutes, and now I have to
Yeah.
say to you, "Oh, I was on the phone with my gynecologist," like, or something that is
Yep.
just private that I don't wanna
Mhm.
share with you, and not because I don't care about you, not because I'm not connected to you, but because it's private.
Yep.
And so I just think that for me has been a really interesting part of social media is that I feel like less is private or that more is just openly available for people to
Mhm.
make assumptions or take guesses at or just to see that I'm at the beach when maybe I was there for a funeral and I didn't want anyone to know I was there. I don't know. Like, things like it does intrude on our
Yeah.
privacy or
Yeah.
social media like has I think also allowed like people post on Facebook that someone died before some family members even know that someone
Yeah.
died. Like, that is
Yes.
something that is extremely
Or everyone knows how they died.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or it's in the comments. It's getting blasted in the comments of a Facebook post. Well, they died because they were drunk and did something stupid or and then the next comment is they weren't drunk, they, whatever, and then the next comment is and it's like, "Whoa, hold on. Human life was just lost and it's completely disregarded."
Yeah, because there's that disconnect, like, it's
Yes.
over, and I don't know if I can really put it into words that it deserves, but just, like, I think it speaks to, like, seeing tragedy over social media, learning about tragedy over social
Mhm.
media instead of in person, yeah, there's just that disconnected feeling, and you don't get the response, and family members will see that and see how you're talking about that moment, and, yeah, that's a hard part about social media, I think.
And then I think a new interesting thing that we're seeing is, like, influencers, and then there's couples, and their brand is their relationship.
Yeah.
And then we put our relationship essentially as our brand and as marketing, right? Like, and we're making money off
Yep.
of our relationship.
Yep.
And then one of the most intimate things we can go through is we break up and we, like, have a loss of that relationship. We have a big rupture. And now we don't wanna share any of it because it's no longer a highlight reel, it's actually something that is really difficult.
Well, and they've lost their brand.
They've lost their brand, and people also feel like they have ownership of that relationship. So,
Yep.
like, you've shown us your relationship this whole time, we deserve to know why you broke up.
Yep.
And I know that a lot of influencers are like, "Respect our privacy."
Yeah.
But
But
but our relationship has not been private
private.
the entire time,
Right.
and I think and I totally understand why you want your breakup to be private, why you
Mhm.
want to process that alone. But I think it's really interesting that, like, we didn't care to have everything else public, but now that this is happening, we want it to be
Right.
private.
Yeah.
And I think that can be I just think it's very interesting that is, like, a newer phenomenon, right? Like,
Mhm.
we love these couples and then they break up and they don't wanna tell us any reasons why they broke up, which I think can be really detrimental because you showed me a highlight reel of this man, right? And let's say I'm 12 years old and I'm, like, starting to like boys or girls, or I'm just
Mhm.
starting to be romantically involved
Mhm.
like, interested in people, and
Yeah.
I look up to your relationship.
Your
I
idol.
follow you, I
Mhm.
idolize you,
Mhm.
and he makes you a curated bouquet, or you and your girlfriend wear matching fits and so then I think this is what a relationship should be
On the day to
on
day.
the day to
This is
day.
what a normal
Mhm.
relationship looks
On the
like.
day to day, and then you break up and you don't share with me what the hardships were in the relationship. I don't get to see the other side because we want that side to be private because it's not as aesthetic, it's not as interesting. But to me, I'm like, that is just as important
Yeah.
Because
for
it's
kids
just
to
as
learn
real.
from because it's just as real.
Right. As real as it is for someone to get their partner flowers, it's also just as real for their partner to do something really crappy to them and hurt them.
Yeah, to not help with chores around the house
Yep.
or
Mhm.
to not text them back
Yep.
when they're having a hard time or to speak to them differently when they're around their friends versus when it's
Mhm.
just the 2 of
Yeah.
them. Like, and those are
Yeah.
all important things I
Yeah.
think, especially for developing minds to see, and all that they're seeing is how great and romanticized this relationship is, and yet then it's private when the negative things
Yeah.
happen. And so is social media just a highlight reel?
I
Yeah.
wonder if that's why the, like, unaesthetic, quote, unquote, "unaesthetic" videos are, like, more popular now of, like, this is what a true first mom's house looks like. I have diapers everywhere and laundry that isn't done and, like and it's but it's, like, fashioned that way of, like, it's unaesthetic when it's actually just reality. It's not that
Mhm.
it's unaesthetic, it is, like, truly reality because these
Mhm.
people have now framed, like, being a mother for the first time or being in a relationship or going to school and working or whatever in these curated ways, and now we have to, like, find a different way to show reality, which is really weird.
Mm.
Maybe
It is
just
weird.
more disturbing than weird.
Yeah.
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 And then it makes me think, like, you are probably seeing those videos because you are in a different stage of how you view social media. So
Yeah.
now your feed is now being like, "Okay,
Jake.
you'll watch the unaesthetic videos because you are starting to catch on to, like, these day in the life videos are not realistic," right? Or
Mhm.
maybe they're
That's
just
yeah.
a highlight reel.
Yeah.
Um,
They say they're a day in the life, but how true and
yeah.
authentic is that day in the life?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what we're connecting with on social media is no longer our choice. Your For You page, your For You page, and my For You page probably have similarities because we're interested in similar things. We'll see similar videos, but they're not the same. And I'll tell you, me and my partner's For You pages are not even close. There might be some overlap sometimes, but like, I think we used to control our feeds. I
Mhm.
followed 15 friends. I
Mhm.
looked at their 15
Yeah.
posts and I was done. That's
Yeah.
all my feed was gonna give
Yeah.
me. Now they are feeding me what they think I want or what they think I want to connect with. So I'm not even are we even truly
Mhm.
choosing what we're connecting with over social media anymore? Like
Yeah.
you met someone Xboxing that you were like, "Oh, I really like," and I got
Yeah.
to know you better and I like want to keep talking to you. You're just a cool guy and like you became a friend.
Right.
But now like an Xbox is probably I don't know much about Xbox, so it's different than like, your TikTok feed, but
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
not even really
Absolutely.
choosing who we're connecting with
No,
anymore.
not at
Same with
all.
Facebook. Like, I follow people on Facebook, and the randomest stuff comes up on my I don't even
Yeah.
see my family or friends post
No,
anymore.
but they have a
Mhm.
section for that. They have a
I was
section that
like,
you can go to on Facebook where it's just your friends, and I'm sitting there thinking, "Isn't that what my feed is supposed to why do I
"Yes!"
have 2 feeds now?" One is whatever, brain rot Facebook wants to feed me and whatever shopping ads, and then my actual, like, friend stuff, I have to click on to go to that feed, and I will say the first time that I clicked onto that, I thought, "Wow, I haven't seen these people in years, and they're posting this." I was shocked because I'm sitting there thinking,
I didn't even realize that.
"No."
Well, Facebook, first of all, confuses the crap out of me, so
Yeah,
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say that, but I
yep.
didn't even realize that until you said
No,
that.
yeah. I didn't know either until maybe a month ago, and I
Okay.
thought, "Oh, wow. Look at all these posts from people that I actually know."
And chose to
And chose to
follow.
follow, and I thought, "Wow, this is pretty cool." So, I do enjoy actually
Mhm.
going to that feed because it's more reminiscent of what it used to be, and it is people that I do know and I do follow and I grew up with, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that would be, like, a mindful way of using social media. Like, I know what's gonna happen when I go in. They're gonna feed me a bunch of stuff, and I think that falls into the addictive qualities of social media, which there are currently lawsuits on right now. But then you could be mindful and say, "Okay, I know what it's gonna do. I know I can doom scroll, so I'm gonna be intentional and go to the friends and family because that's what I wanna use it for."
Mm,
Which is so hard because I, like, had to do a few steps in my brain and, like, when we're just tired at the end of the day, it's
yeah.
hard to take those steps.
Yeah. No, and I think even on that note, I do wanna talk a little bit about, though, how social media is good for connection. I think we've done a lot of the detriment, and I know there's lots of research, right? You know, it can cause anxiety, it can cause stress, it can cause depression, it can cause an increase in social isolation because you're using it as a comparison tool, right? Your purpose for using social media is to compare yourself to everyone else to see what you need to be doing or
Mhm.
how you should be living or whatever. But how is social media helping with connection? Because I do think there is that piece.
Yeah.
I think I actually have an overall positive experience with social media. I enjoy it, but I also don't use it that much. And I also don't use it, I don't think, in the way that other people use it. Something that came to mind was, and I Googled it because I totally forgot, but do you guys remember Visco?
Yep.
So there was, like, Instagram, and then there was backdoor Instagram, which is Visco, and then the Visco girl trend, right? And so, I think even then, I knew I didn't have the confidence to say, "Oh, I'm gonna create this beautiful Visco page, and I'm gonna be a Visco girl." And I think even then, I knew to a degree that I didn't need to use social media like that. So, I am
Mhm.
curious to see how you guys, see ways that social media actually does help with connection.
I think on the Visco note, Visco was actually the opposite for me.
Really? Okay.
Nobody followed my Visco, nobody knew what my Visco was.
Yeah.
I didn't link it to my
Instagram,
account.
yeah.
So, actually, Visco is one place that I've consistently posted my favorite
Is it
pictures.
still active?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I haven't been on it in probably, like, a year or 2,
Okay.
but up until that point, it actually has, like, all of my favorite pictures from my
Cool.
life, and it's
Okay.
almost just like a timeline
Yeah.
because I always put the pictures on in order, and nobody followed it, and also, you used to not be able to comment or like on it. I think you can now,
Okay.
and I really liked that. I wasn't gonna be able to get any likes on the pictures, I wasn't gonna be able to so, that is a positive thing for me. It's
For
Okay.
like,
sure.
timeline
Okay.
I was gonna say social media helps me out with everybody's
Yeah.
birthdays, and I
Oh,
appreciate
yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
do not miss birthdays because of social media.
Mm,
Sometimes I still do, but at least I'm, like, a day or 2 within the realm, or
yes.
it helps
Absolutely.
you
That's a
remind yeah, it helps remind me of people's birthdays, which I love. I think I love to celebrate my people and be connected in that way. I also like social media for businesses and small
yes.
businesses, and for people to show their passions and art and things that they love, and I think that is, like, such a cool way to connect and get to see, like, art that people are doing all across the world
Mm,
and things like that, and then, obviously, too, I think it creates universality more than just maybe being in a small town and, like, you really
yeah.
just have your small town to connect with and nobody gets your experience. It does create that universality, which we know is so important for
Mhm.
humans and is so important to connection. And I think people can share stories to help and support others. And I do think that is like a beautiful part of social media if it's done
Yeah.
well. If it's done well,
If it's
if it's
done
done
well, if you're able
well.
to enjoy it, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Mm.
absolutely.
I I feel like I have actually like a more positive experience with social media. I like really love and I've loved YouTube for a long time because I remember I like first started watching it when I was 11 or 12 and I was obsessed with like skincare and makeup channels and like making homemade face masks and I actually think it was a way that I learned how to take care of myself and that was
Oh, like
really beautiful.
hygiene. Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's awesome.
Um and I think, it did fill void, that space of, like, being connected and got me into, like, video games or comic books. Like, I there's so many ways you can connect with groups that love what you love or even finding, like, new hobbies. I feel like nowadays I use it a lot for, like, inspiration and motivation for gardening. Gardening is one, or, like, having a homestead one day, or, like, me and my sister really wanna create a nonprofit, and there's, like, a wealth of information on the internet, so I've been, like, watching videos on how do you start a nonprofit and all of the parts of that.
Yeah.
So I think if it's used intentionally, I can be very motivated. I can go on and watch a video and then use that to, like, better my own life. So,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
can be really
Yeah.
positive.
That's
Yeah.
how I learned how to braid hair.
Yep.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yep.
YouTube.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm glad you guys bring that up because I think that's what I've used social media a lot for is education, right? I have
Yeah.
something that I want to learn about and I'm able to go on and watch a video of it done, which
Mhm.
is so much better than just reading about steps on how to do it without a picture, without a video. But then it also allows me to one to learn, to pick up new skills, and then I can also apply that in my life.
Mhm.
So, I'm also thinking actually a place that I've been really loving here recently, and it's got its negatives, don't get me wrong, but Reddit.
Yeah.
I really enjoy reading Reddit threads because it's just people asking questions and other people sharing their experiences. What a cool way to connect. There is no
Yeah.
curation, there's no, I don't think this standard of it has to be perfect. I mean, these are grandmas being like, yeah, whenever I was whatever age, I did this and that, and here's how it worked out for me. And I'm thinking, great, that's a real life experience. I mean, this is gonna sound crazy, but I was asking or I was looking on Reddit for best hospitals in Knoxville. And my gosh, you would be astounded at the amount of people that have opinions on hospitals. But I'm sitting there and I'm reading real person experiences, and that actually means a lot to me that I
Mhm.
Yeah.
can, you know, take away and, if I'm seeing a name over and over and over again and it's generally negative, I'm going to think, yeah, I don't want to go there. But if I see a
Mhm.
name and people are talking about how awesome it is, yeah, okay, maybe that's the one I want because generally people are loving this place. So I think content in the sense of, this is a skill, this is educational, this is real life experiences, it's not curated, those are the parts of social media that I really enjoy and that I like using.
And it's just opened so many doors for people.
Yes.
Like, I have this really cool niche where I don't personally, but an example would be, like, I have this really cool niche where I make these purses, and, like, before, I wouldn't have been able to maybe reach the people that would
People,
love
yeah,
those purses too, and
yeah.
now I can take off and
Yes.
create a whole business, and, it creates secondary income for people. Like, I think
Yes.
it does so many positive things,
Yes.
but I think all the examples we gave were not as much connection based. I'm just putting it out there.
No, that makes sense.
They weren't. They were, I'm learning something. I
Yeah.
am maybe finding others who have a similar hobby to me. I'm getting education. I'm getting reviews on hospitals, products,
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or advice on experiences, which yours, maybe Reddit is a little bit more of connection. Like,
Yeah.
I'm reading threads and responding and having
Right.
conversations with
Conversations.
people, but like,
Mhm.
I don't know, is that truly connection? It
Yeah.
can be, like, I'm learning a skill from you or I'm feeling inspired by you, but are we truly connected? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I like that question, and I think my initial reaction is I automatically thought about Facebook groups because Facebook groups are, platforms where thousands of people can join, and it's all about something that you're interested in.
Mhm.
And that's been really cool. For example, I'm thinking my pasta making group
Oh,
on Facebook.
cool.
Yeah, and I've learned so much from them, and it's funny because Facebook groups, over time, you get to know who's consistently commenting, who's
Yeah,
consistently
like,
active in that group.
Fabulous Woman is the best at making bow
Yes!
tie pasta. When she posts about it,
Yeah.
you
I
bet
know,
I'm
yeah,
reading
and
that
we're
post.
commenting, and I'm having a direct conversation with
Yeah.
this person because she's the one responding and I'm the one engaging. So I think that may be more connection based, in the sense of I'm learning from you, but also I know this about you now,
Yeah,
and we have this piece
yeah.
that we're connected to that is the
Mhm.
same. So,
And those
yeah.
forums have moderators,
Yep.
and they're
Yeah.
Yep.
moderated, and I'm also choosing to be a part of this. I
Choice is a big part.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or I think about I'm in this Knoxville girls group in their 20s.
Mm.
and it's just I think it's over maybe it might be right at 15,000 people in it now. That's 15,000 girls that are living in Knoxville in their 20s, and people are posting events in there all the time to meet up and hang out and to make new friends, and they do
Yes,
friendship
which is so
applications.
cool.
Yes, and that is really
Yeah.
cool, and that's a great example of how that platform is creating connection among girls
Yes.
or young women, which is so cool, and I've really enjoyed being a part of that. I met one of my good friends through that group,
Yeah.
so, yeah, and we go and get coffee, and we hang out, and it's been really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be interested in, like, looking more into those groups. I wonder how much of this is, like, our perception of where we fit in the internet world and social media. Because now that you say that, I'm noticing a lot of my stuff is very passive. Like, I am passively watching something, but I'm not interacting, and the older I get, the more I feel like, "Oh, I think I could be a leader in this space. I could be the person creating content." And I've heard people I maybe just to have a healthy relationship for them with social media, they say, like, "I wanna go in with a plan where, I'm putting myself out there, I'm actively engaging in the world in this way, I'm putting myself out there versus it being more passive to, like, have a healthy relationship with it, which is an interesting I think that is personal to each person how much of themselves they wanna put on the internet.
Yeah.
But I've been definitely more I mean, us doing this is, like, a huge step of putting ourselves out there into the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it is, it's content that we're creating that someone else is gonna consume, and, are they going to be able to relate or to connect with it? So,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. Do either of you guys have a weekly challenge for this episode?
I was talking earlier this morning, I'm like, I just wanna get off all my social media again, so maybe a challenge would just be finding what's because I think I like what you said about, like, if we're intentional about
Yeah,
what we're consuming, I think we can truly connect in some really cool ways
okay.
and come up with some examples. Maybe the challenge is to find, like, what parts of social media fuel you and feed you and what parts of social media are detrimental
Okay.
and deprive you of your energy, so
Okay, so thinking about your social media usage and how what parts of it are connecting you
yeah.
and what parts are hurting you.
And I like what you said about how, like, in the past, social media was just being connected to our friends. So I think a cool challenge, this might just be personal, would be going through and maybe unfollowing things that do not serve me, that I don't feel connected to, that maybe are feeding me a reality that does not.
Ooh, okay.
Because that I think it's something I've been needing to do for a long time. Go through all my follows and unfollow probably like more than half, and be very intentional about what I see because I know it affects me.
Yeah, so cleaning up your content,
Yeah.
essentially.
Being your own moderator.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I think that feeds into what you were saying, Olivia, about identifying what areas are detrimental, right? So
Yeah.
the challenge can be, figure out what areas you truly do feel connected to and how are you using that, and then decreasing the areas that are detrimental to you and your connections. And, being intentional and choosing to unfollow or choosing to clean up your feed. Yeah.
I'm
No,
excited to hear how it goes.
yeah, that's a great challenge.
Yeah.
So, alrighty. Thank you guys for tuning in to another great episode
Thanks a
of
lot.
the podcast. So we'll see you guys next week.
Stay
Woo!
connected.
As always, please remember you are someone's human connection and you are never alone. If you're experiencing a mental health crisis or emergency, please call 988 911 or a crisis response unit in your area. Disclaimer: the thoughts, opinions, and topics discussed in this podcast are not intended for mental health treatment, service, or diagnostic purposes. All opinions expressed are solely those of the host, co-host, and guests. Resources mentioned can be found in the written show notes. Thanks again for tuning in to the Human Reconnect podcast.